3 nights after returning home, the Sharma house still did not feel right. The family had checked every room, every cupboard, and every window, but the strange feeling remained. The fridge still seemed too full, the upstairs hallways still felt too quiet, and every night, around the same time, the house made a sound like a soft breath being held. Neha heard it first. She was in the kitchen pouring water when a whisper slipped through the wall beside the sink. "Neha." She froze. The voice had been faint, but clear. She looked around. No one was there. Then the whisper came again, closer this time. "Open the wall." Neha nearly dropped the glass. She backed away from the sink and called for Mrs. Sharma. Her mother-in-law arrived in seconds, as if she had been waiting for trouble all evening. Neha pointed at the wall, but Mrs. Sharma only pressed her ear against it and frowned. "There is something hollow in here," she said. The husband joined them, carrying a torch. He tapped the wall twice. A strange echo answered from inside, like the sound had gone through a tunnel. Then, very softly, came a child's laugh. Not from the kitchen, from inside the wall. By morning, the family had found a loose panel behind the kitchen shelf. It should not have been there. None of them remembered seeing it before. The wood was old, dark, and scratched in long lines, as if someone had tried to claw their way out. The husband tried to pull the panel open, but it would not move. Mrs. Sharma took the small brass key she kept for emergencies and forced the lock. The panel opened with a dry, sharp crack. Behind it was a narrow space between the walls. Too narrow for a person, too narrow for anything alive. But the air inside was damp and cold, and there were marks on the wood. Tiny handprints, tiny drag marks, and at the very bottom, a small folded piece of paper. Neha reached in and took it out. The paper was old and yellow. On it, in messy handwriting, were the words, "Don't let her hear you." Mrs. Sharma read it twice, then looked up. "Her?" Before anyone could answer, the back door slammed shut by itself. The lights flickered. From the hallway upstairs came the sound of footsteps. Slow, careful, one step at a time. The husband whispered, "Nobody is up there." But then a voice drifted down from the stairs. His voice. "Come upstairs." The family slowly climbed the stairs, each step heavy with dread. The upstairs hallway looked unchanged, but now every door was slightly open, just enough to show darkness inside. The air smelled like wet dust and something sweetly rotten, like flowers left too long in water. At the end of the hallway stood the old storage room. It had been locked for years. Neha knew that because Mrs. Sharma had always refused to open it, calling it useless junk space. Now the door was standing wide open. Inside, there was no junk, only a chair in the middle of the room, and on the chair sat a small girl. She wore a white dress soaked dark at the hem, and her hair hung over her face. Her feet did not touch the floor. She sat still, with her head slightly tilted, as if listening to everything in the house at once. Mrs. Sharma whispered, "Who are you?" The girl lifted her head. Her eyes were blank and shining, like glass filled with water. Then she smiled. The smile was too large for her face. "I live in the walls," she said. The husband stumbled back. "No!" The girl's head jerked toward him. "You were not supposed to come back!" The lights in the hallway exploded one by one. Glass showered across the floor. The family ran backward, but the girl did not move from the chair. She only watched, smiling wider, as if she had already seen the ending. The wall behind the family began to shake. Not the door, the wall itself. A deep knocking came from inside the plaster, hard enough to make pictures fall. Then long cracks spread across the paint, racing upward and sideways like veins. Neha screamed and covered her head. Mrs. Sharma grabbed her arm and pulled her toward the stairs. The husband turned the torch toward the wall, and in that instant, he saw it. A face pushing from beneath the plaster. Not the girl, something larger, something behind her. The wall split open with a sound like torn cloth. Cold air rushed out, and from inside came a thin black hand, followed by another, then a head with no clear features, only a blank place where a face should have been. The girl on the chair began laughing. a soft, high laugh that echoed through the house. Mrs. Sharma threw the brass key at the wall and shouted a prayer so loud it sounded like a command. The husband pulled Neha down the stairs while the thing in the wall dragged itself farther into the room. Then the girl spoke again. "Too late." The family fled to the front door and out into the yard. The house stood silent behind them for one long second. Then every light inside turned on at once. The upstairs storage room window cracked from the inside, and the girl appeared behind the glass, standing in the dark with her head tilted, smiling down at them. The next morning, the police found the house empty. No girl, no body, no sign of forced entry. Only the kitchen wall, marked by tiny scratches from one end to the other. And in the hallway, written in black dust on the floor, were the words, "She came home with you."